Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button. And if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. IAMGAWD and Dr. Mindbenda. Hell's Angels and Heaven's Demons. IAMGAWD is a Chicago-based underground rapper and MC. First discovered him after hearing Black Chidori's massive posse cut of an EP, Ragnarok, where he was featured. And I've been keeping minor tabs on his releases ever since, with me actually talking about his most recent album, Murder Castle, in the May review recall. However, I got a request a decent while back to take a look at one of his earlier projects, a collab with producer Dr. Mindbenda, Hell's Angels and Heaven's Demons, released in 2021. And let's not waste any more time, let's just dive in. What are my thoughts on Hell's Angels and Heaven's Demons? Let's find out as I review it track by track. Since I couldn't find if there were actually any singles, we will just start at the top of the track list, with that being the title track, Hell's Angels and Heaven's Demons, which is a very eerie track to my surprise. The combination of the stamping percussion, sampled female narration is hardly singing, occasional key flourishes, and the unnerving lack of any synth or a background bass gives the song a vast, lonesome energy. Then when God shows up, his cadence just steals the spotlight. His style is very ravenous and blunt. He makes himself the center of attention and kills it as a result, delivering a very lyrically dense flow. A phenomenal opening track. Dreadhead Zombies picks up the pace and tempo from the opener, and this one is also amazing. The instrumental here on this one is actually pretty catchy. The stagnant snare slaps throughout the song almost give a bit of a poppier side to this beat, with the piano lingering in the back. It's not the most mind-blowing beat I've ever heard, but it works very well for this song as God's flow here is immaculate. The way he slides over it like it's nothing as he raps about this kind of fake culture, I'm assuming, getting into weed, pills, and women, and people who get online and say a bunch of random shit for the clout, but that's not actually how the streets work. Regardless of the meaning, I really love this song. Gothm Gangways is a kind of grimy, bluesy, jazzy rap banger, and it's another stellar track here. The drum feels heavy and sludgy. The vibe with the background singer and the soft brass work is a bit dreary. God's flow just, again, kills it. He's such a captivating MC, as these lyrics here really stand out, which tackle gun violence, especially in hip-hop culture. Rappers constantly not making it very far in life, and the very real fear of knowing today could be your last day on this planet. And the people who make beef over it are who are sickening. As God says on that first line, "Come journey with me through this hellhole." A hard-hitting track, but a very welcome one. Blessings has a similar style and pacing to the opening track, but without that eerie undercurrent. And this one's okay. The biggest thing I get and love about this track is God's rhyme scheme, especially for the first half of the song. Very intricate and expertly executed. Aside from that, the instrumental is solid, percussion still hits hard, and the only other addition being this moody, wavy synth hanging in the dissonant void of the background. The lyrics are, again, pretty powerful and explicit, talking about more gun violence, death, and how you can get desensitized from being exposed to it at birth. Good song. Honor Me is the kind of splendorous opulence I tend to expect from this underground hip-hop scene, but with a little extra flair to turn this into a banger. The mix is pretty loaded, the choir vocal ringing in the background plays to the aforementioned vibe, but there's also some lighter bass work, twinkling starry effects, sandy snare, and the very solid bass. Lyrically, this one's just pure flexing and braggadocio, very fitting for the song, really like this one. HHWND, which is an acronym for Hip Hop Will Never Die, and it opens up with a few skits, one of which is actually pretty funny. After about 30 seconds of that, we get this dirty beat with chalky percussion work playing against this repetitive shrill piano melody. God's delivery, again, fantastic. I love how blunt and serious he comes off as he raps about propelling the hip-hop culture while delivering more bragging as well. Very nice song. KmanCf has a personal favorite beat of mine on the record. It's got a nice jazzy vibe to it. The strings and piano really punch through the mix, especially those strings. They're shrill but pretty majestic and really slice their way into the spotlight. The drum and bass are some of the quietest on the album so far, serving as just a minor way to tie the beat together. God continues his streak of not having a bad performance. His flow is smooth as hell as he raps a bit more about flexing, plus mentioning that both the mainstream and underground both have trash rappers. It's kind of refreshing to hear a diss on both sides of the coin instead of just hammering at the mainstream. Great track. Do 'Em Filthy, which is a massive posse cut featuring Decay the Llama, Tone Live, Green Slime, Solar 5, and Def C, coming in at just under 7.5 minutes. And I'll be honest, I don't really have too much to say about this one. I can definitely compliment the track for not sounding as long as that timestamp may suggest, even with the static beat with its luxurious synths and hard-hitting percussion and bass. Every MC on here does great with what they're given. They flow into each other very well. I want to say this is like the centerpiece for the album, but the song doesn't really do anything monumental aside from bringing in a lot of features and having them all go at it. But for what it is still a good song. A Father's Love is another track on here with a brutally honest and true message. Easily the most striking on the album as he raps about the tale of this father who's an ex-felon trying to raise his son. His wife passed away due to breast cancer, and he goes to see that son after being granted parole. But after a few years of a fatherless life, the reintroduction of one is unfamiliar to him, and the boy starts to change mentally, and he falls into trouble until he eventually runs away and is found dead. Stricken with grief, the father plots revenge and eventually gets it, and the final skit of the song seems to suggest that he's been given life in prison for that. The song just has such a powerful message, one of the most powerful I can recall in recent memory, and it's delivered so well with a vague groove for a beat, bit of a smooth bass, clicky percussion. In my opinion, this is the album's centerpiece, and probably one of God's magnum opuses. Bulletproof Dreams has a bit of a slower, more R&B influenced beat with the tamer tempo, soaring, luscious synth work, and solid percussion taps. Not much bass on this one as well, much less than the typical underground rap beat from artists I know. This one also has one of the more solid and catchy choruses on the record as well, still not anything remarkable, but always good to have. The track also has a very long skit supplemented by some jazzier flourishes, kinda kills the pace of the song, at least for me, even if I do like its purpose and sentiment. Overall a good song, but not one I'm eager to return to. Same Shit Different Day has some very smooth vibes, but I think that just may be my bias for flutes, as this one is very lush and has a comforting woodland-esque quality to it, and it almost sounds like there's a minor harp addition in there too, adding a kind of fantasy element to the song. The snares have a very solid snap to them, kind of sandy and rustly, while God delivers one of the most verbose and captivating performances on the album, with the chorus also showing him trying a little bit of melody, and I think it works out very well. Good track. And finally, the closer, On My Soul, is an extremely satisfying closer. I love that punchy bass drum, the anthemic background embellishments. It's probably one of the most grimy bangers on the project. God caps off the record with 0 performance misses, in my opinion. His blunt, bold charisma never ceases to get old as the album ends on a gratifying fade-out. Good closer. Overall, this is my favorite IAMGAWD album, hands down. First off, shout out Dr. Mindbenda. The production on this album was fantastic across the board, beats that really fit God's style and energy while not stealing the show. Excellent stuff in that regard. The project also doesn't overstay its welcome and flaunts a level of consistency very few rappers can claim to have. I do think a few tracks can get a bit lost in the mix, and there are definitely some highlights I'll return to more, but I think that again speaks to the level of consistency. There's not a bad track here, and a wonderful showing of just how gripping underground hip-hop can truly be. A real gem, check it out. I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!